Well, today is March 21st, 2024. Why does that matter? Because 40 years ago, punished Venom Snake set foot in Afghanistan to start his first official mission after waking up from 9 years of coma. If you're confused right now, I'm talking about Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, a video game which released on September 1st, 2015 by Konami and Hideo Kojima Production Studios. Even if you have limited knowledge about video games in general, you probably have already heard about the Metal Gear franchise and Hideo Kojima himself. Coincidentally, this year is the 9th anniversary of this game. Infamously, because of the disputes between Konami and Kojima, he was fired and all the future projects got cancelled. There are rumors that MGS5 is also unfinished. Videos on the internet titled Mission 51 of MGS5, which was also on MGS5 Definitive Edition files, were also supporting this theory. Despite Mr. Kojima himself confirming that the game is the way it is supposed to be, many people still waiting for something after all these years. Some rumors are circulating that something will happen on its 9th anniversary, but who knows? You see, in this game, you play as Big Boss, who runs a private military called Diamond Dogs, seeking revenge from Cypher, who allegedly was in charge of the MSF raid 9 years prior. There are many game mechanics such as doing missions, gathering resources from the battlefield, recruiting members, and developing new gears of battle or expanding the so-called motor base, a headquarters located off an old rig off of Seychelles waters, located in Africa. Also, there is an online mode, not Metal Gear Online, in which you can run a secondary motor base called FOB, or Forward Operating Base, and infiltrate other FOB bases. You can defend your bases by setting up defenses for your base or owning a nuclear weapon. You see, the concept of Metal Gear itself in the game is a bipedal mecha that carries nuclear weapons. So why nuclear weapons are so important in real life? Why do many countries want to have one? Why do other countries oppose? Why do superpowers own nuclear weapons? And why the nuclear weapon is the peace paradox? So let's forget about the digital world and go back to the early 20th century and Europe. So long story short, there were tensions in Europe and there were some territorial disputes between European powers. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary was assassinated by Gavrilo Princip, a Yugoslav nationalist student, in his words. This ignited the Great War, or World War I. Austria-Hungary, Germany, and the Ottoman Empire were on the one side, Axis, while Great Britain, France, and Russia were on the other side, allied. In a span of 4 years, between 1914 and 1918, around 20 million people died and 21 others injured. The deadliest and the most destructive human conflict ever. Yet, because this caused a chain reaction. In Russia, the Bolsheviks overthrew the Tsarist monarchy and established the Soviet Union. The Ottoman Empire shrunk and finally dissolved into modern-day Turkey, and the post-war compensation and debt pushed Germany's economy into hyperinflation and economic depression. This caused a World War I veteran to rise to power. His actions, alongside the others, caused the deadliest conflict in human history. The casualties of this massive war were 75 million people. This shaped the world in the coming years, many by the direct and indirect influence of the New World superpowers, the United States of America, or the West Bloc, and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or the East Bloc. Post-World War victory eased their way into their position. In addition to that, many former German scientists refuged to both countries during and after the war. Their efforts advanced the country's military technologies. This also helped the countries into developing a weapon so destructive that even its creator, J. Robert Oppenheimer, famously called it the Bhagavad Gita, an old Indian literature piece which was written in Sanskrit. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. Nuclear weapon definition by Britannica Encyclopedia is a device designed to release energy in an explosive manner as a result of nuclear fission, nuclear fusion, or a combination of these two. Nuclear fission, the basis of early atom bombs, was first done by Otto Hahn and Fritz Strassmann, two German scientists. In 1939, in an effort to warn President Roosevelt about the possibility of nuclear weapons, Albert Einstein signed a letter. This made President Roosevelt to greenlight the US effort for nuclear weapon. After the first nuclear explosion in July 16, 1945, the two atom bombs of Little Boy and Fat Man were used in the two cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. The only military usage of this weapon. Japan surrendered unconditionally 6 days later, ending the Pacific Campaign of World War II and the conflict itself. A few years later, in 1949, the Soviet Union also had a functioning nuclear arsenal. In the 1950s, tension rose again, but this time, both sides knew that they should avoid direct confrontation. Thus, Cold War era began. An era of uncertainty and lots of proxy wars between the two superpowers. Korea, Vietnam, socialist movements all around the world, all were direct results of these superpowers. In 1968, the Soviet Union, the United States, and the United Kingdom signed NPT, or Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, in order to maintain the numbers of nuclear weapons, disarmament, and the right to peacefully use the nuclear technology. The number of nuclear weapons across the world can destroy the entirety of the humankind existence multiple times. This has caused a stalemate between the superpowers, a forced peace. Many countries want that privilege, that no foreign power can destabilize the country and cause a regime change. China, North Korea, India, Pakistan, Israel, they all possess nuclear weapons. Many others try to possess one. Iran has secretly trying so hard to develop a nuclear weapon and paying for it by crippling sanctions. Countries' actions are also important for the international community. Because of the sanctions and lots of political corruption such as embezzlements, insider tradings, and monopolized economy by the government, Iran's economy suffers nowadays. Countries like Iran can easily develop and sell nuclear devices to third parties without any serious repercussion when there is no official inspection. Also, Iran has actively threatening Israel to destroy and turn its entirety into rubble. IAEA and the United Nations oversee these efforts and letting nations to use nuclear technologies for peaceful purposes, such as clean energy, nuclear medicines for cancer treatments, etc. In 2022, the Russian Federation started an invasion on the territories of Ukraine, and this conflict is still ongoing. Vladimir Putin, the current president of Russia, actively threatens Western countries to use nuclear weapons against them if they interfere. Even a few weeks ago, the US intelligence warned European countries that Russia is working on a space nuclear device that can instantly douse every single satellite and possibly burn Europe's entire power grid. The future truly lies inside a mist. The world is fuming nowadays. People are divided more than ever. The possibility of World War III is as high as it was back in the Cold War. Truly, nothing ever happens. But if it does, remember the quote of Albert Einstein: "I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. The Metal Gear series were always a commentary about the politics and tensions around the world, coated with the over-the-top premises, such as Metal Gears, clones, crazy situations, nanomachines, etc. However, another theme about this series is the governments and their branches always have a scapegoat. From the boss and the big boss to Liquid and Ocelot, the main characters of the series.
Don't blame yourself. Blame me.
But why I said all of this? What is the real point of this video? Well, a few days ago I was playing MGS5. I developed a nuke for the first time. After waiting for a day, when I logged back in, I got an achievement for making a nuke for the first time. But Snake, he was bloody. I even tried showering, an endgame mechanic that cleans blood of you and your enemies from your gears, and physically and mentally refreshes you. Even after that, nothing changed. My character's sharp nose that is stuck in his skull even resembled a horn. A devil's horn, to be specific.
I'm already a demon. Heaven's not my kind of place anyway.
So, I immediately folded and destroyed the nuke. I even got another achievement for it, but nothing really changed. It seemed like the blood is always on my hands, even if I didn't even have it. The point is, owning a nuclear weapon makes your enemies incapable of attacking and defeating you. However, the mental challenge is extremely high, and if you are trigger happy and have an itchy finger, you can extinct humans very easily. Since 1945, nukes are preventing major wars. However, the overconfidence of the owners makes them irresponsible of their actions. The United Nations veto powers consist of US, Russia, UK, France, and China, which were the victor side of the World War II. Coincidentally, all of these countries are nuclear powers as well. Russia and US always veto resolutions against themselves or their allies, making the United Nations Security Council basically useless. Just remember that the world functionality is not absolute. It is not 0 or 1, good or evil, black or white. This can also be said about nuclear weapons. Many NGOs over the years requested for full nuclear disarmament of every nation. Even in MGS5, an event cutscene will play if all the nuclear weapons are destroyed. But what if a country wants to develop nuclear weapons again? That there is thinking absolute. That thinking of something will definitely happen. I'm not saying it's a wrong thing, because trusting an untrustworthy person will cause future regrets. Everyone should believe that trust is a good thing. Even if a single person concerns about the trust, the whole system will collapse upon itself. So at least for now, nuclear weapons are the greatest peacekeeper we have.